Hi. Let's get right into it. Today, I want to talk about God shots. Now, whether you're religious, whether you're atheist, whether you believe in a higher power or not, or agnostic, it doesn't actually really matter. It's a phrase that we have in recovery, and it basically means an unexpected sign, a profound happening that cannot be explained, that can seemingly not be explained. And these God shots have been happening to me. I've been actually noticing them since I've been in recovery. They've probably been happening long before my recovery journey. But I want to talk about them today. Now, this is totally spur of the moment. I initially was like, okay, Laura, just order pineapple on pizza and just talk about pineapple on pizza in this episode because I want to lighten things up. And the amount of people nagging me to try pineapple on pizza is wild because I posted a story saying the idea of it repulsed me. So I do want to give that a chance. But I looked up the pizza place and they're not open yet. So I thought, okay, whatever. I'm just going to talk about what's going on right now in my life. So this morning I had a pretty epic argument with a family member. And I wouldn't say that I'm argumentative at this point in my life. When I was, certainly a teenager and early 20s, I would say that I was. And I also really struggled to control my emotions. I would scream. I would just completely lose control. I remember when I was a kid punching walls, punching, windows. There was this one time at a party where a girl, now remember I'm 6 feet tall, a girl who was 5 feet tall came up to me and she was upset because her ex-boyfriend invited me to this high school party. And she came up to me and she was jealous or whatever, high school shit. And she looks up at me, right? She's a foot shorter. And she goes, "Oh, you're Laura Clary." And I look down, I go, "Yeah." And she just goes, bam, and just punches me in the face. Black eye. She starts kicking my ass. Now, you would think someone a foot taller would fight back. But instead, what did I do? I went, "Oh, please stop it. Oh, that hurts. Oh my God." Then my friends all everyone was separating us. And this bitch is fucking, fucking me up, honestly. And I'm not a fighter, okay? And so my friends proceed to get me in a bathroom and shut the door. And I'm so upset and I'm shaking, my eyes all swollen. And so I see this glass picture on the bathroom wall. And I'm so angry and I'm so raging that I just punch the glass picture as hard as I can. So I had a lot of rage, but it wasn't directed towards people. Basically, I would punch objects, not people. Okay? Anyway, so I punched this glass picture and I still have these scars. If you're looking at the video podcast, you can see I've got slits on my wrists from punching the wall, blood everywhere. It was a whole thing. Okay. The point is I had anger issues. Okay. And just to wrap that story up, because it's kind of crazy. So it was a high school party in the town next to us. And it turns out that, and I didn't know this then, but that the family who owned this house was on vacation. They were in Hawaii. So their friends were "Dude, the family's in Hawaii. Let's go and break into the house and have a party, throw a party there." So they were throwing a party at this house where the family was out on vacation. So the family comes back to beer everywhere. The house is totally messed up. There's blood all over the bathrooms. So the family's fucking furious and they press charges. So they find out who was there and they're pressing charges. Then it made it on the local news. So I'll never forget there was a story on the local news and the news reporter was at that house in Hinsdale. Y'all know the Chicagoland area. People know. It was the wealthy area with Hinsdale. And they were showing the house and I was like, "That's my blood. That's my blood. Oh my God. I'm famous. My blood is famous." But anyway, it was a whole thing. So point of the story is I definitely had anger issues and those have really subsided with age and just working on myself and getting better. I realize now, I had a lot of trauma and things like that. So it's very out of character for me to like lash out or yell. It's not normal. I would say the only person that's kind of made me lose my temper here and there is my 3-year-old. I'll occasionally, yell, and I'm not proud of it. Again, like I said, I don't think that's good. I just, sometimes I'll lose my temper and it's like, no hit, and then I'm like, oh shit, cause it's toddlers. They're little terrorists. They're fucking, you make them pasta and then they're like, and just throw the pasta all over the kitchen and then smacking you and headbutting you. And it's like, God damn, it's 7 a.m., and sometimes it's like, no. And then I feel terrible. I'm a good parent having a hard time. I'm sorry that I wasn't a safe space for you, blah, blah, blah. You get it. Okay. So I've gotten a lot better at, I guess they would say you'd call it restraint of tongue and pen, right? Is that the phrase? Am I fucking that up? Okay. Anyway, you get it. But this morning was very different. Okay. This morning what happened was I had written this sketch, this idea that I had for a long time. And I was really, really excited. And it was exploring a specific dynamic, that happens within family relationship. And that's like as much detail as I'll go into about it, but it was basically exploring this very special, very specific dynamic. And I was very excited. I had the idea for a long time. And so I send the script to this family member, thinking the family member is going to be like, oh my gosh, I love how you portrayed me. You're such a brilliant writer. This is so amazing. Wow, Laura, bravo, bravo. Well, no, that didn't happen. That didn't happen at all. The family member was not happy with how I portrayed them. Family member did not want me writing about them in any capacity. Family member thinks that I'm putting work before the relationship and doesn't feel safe talking to me because thinks that anything they say is going to end up in my next script. Family member is, understandably upset. Whereas in my mind, I'm thinking, you're my muse. I think you're brilliant. I love everything about you. And I want to share this dynamic with the world because I know they're going to relate on a deep level and it's going to spark conversation, so to me, I looked at that piece, that script, as a love letter. The family member looked at it as a betrayal or an annoyance and basically was just like, it's shit, but in a very nice way. Or not even that it's shit, but like, stop writing about me. Stop it, And I'm like, I don't understand. Like, you're a brilliant character. You're a person, but like, you're brilliant. Like, okay, when Steven and I were together, I loved writing for him. I loved exploring that dynamic and that connected, our relationship connected with millions of people around the world. And that is so exciting to me. But Steven was different. He was a willing participant. He was excited to do that, and this family member is not, and that's okay. But anyway, when the family member sort of expressed their upset, I was so upset. And I think it was because I was expecting like wow, that's great. Oh my gosh, I love it. Because it was like a very sweet, loving piece. Like it wasn't, anyway, I'm justifying, okay? The fact is, I didn't like the answer. I thought the answer was going to be different. I sent it. I thought, hey, like, obviously this character is based on you. If there's anything you think could, you want to tweak or whatever. Anyway, the point is, I wasn't happy with the result, with the answer I got, with the feedback. And I could feel my body kind of shaking. And we've had these sort of arguments in the past. And I feel like our relationship has just become strained, and then we repair it and then it's better. And then something else happens. So I was like, I gotta go. Cause I could feel myself getting heated. And then they were like, no, like, let's talk about this. And then that's when I yelled and was like, This is a love letter. Can't you see you're my muse? Can't you see I love you? Can't you see I care? Can't you see this piece is beautiful? Can't you see it? I'm an artist. This is what I do. You know, I write the truth, you know, but how like selfish and self-seeking and am I to go here it is, and this is how you should feel about it. But I was just so heated. And also like I'm in a very vulnerable place, I guess, because I'm not ready to like write with Stephen again. Not that I wrote with Stephen, but like he was so involved in my work. And oftentimes the things that I wrote involved him, or like the family dynamic. And now that we're separated, I want to get back into writing, you know, writing scripts again. And so I really thought long and hard about like, what other dynamics can I explore now that we're separated? Because I'm not ready to work with him again. I'm not there at all. And could I make a great co-parenting sketch? Yes. Did I contemplate writing Separated on Halloween? Yes, I did. You know, but it just feels like too soon. It feels like... So anyway, my point is I wanted to dive into other dynamics. I thought it was going to go one way. It didn't go my way. I ended up yelling. They ended up saying, I'm not okay with you lashing out. Then I said, well, I said I needed to go, so I needed to calm down because I don't want to lash out and I don't want to say things I don't mean. You just don't understand. And there's like, no, you don't understand. No, we don't understand the other person. Anyway, so then I had a 10 a.m. women's meeting and it was like 9:50. And I was like, I really do have to go to this meeting. Bye, you know. I walk into the meeting. It's a brilliant meeting. It's all women, age ranges from like 50 to 80. They all have like long-term sobriety, except for this one 70-year-old has 59 days or 60 days. But like, it's incredible. These women, they've been there, done that. Any issue you have, they've been there, done that. So it's incredible to sit around these women with so much life experience and just watch them age gracefully and watch them show up and deal with their problems in a incredible way. You know, it's so inspiring, and they have like such an amazing connection, and they've all been friends forever. And one of them will be like, and this, I'm not using their real name, like, you know, I was pissed off because my knee hurts like shit, so Barb came over for 6 hours when you drank coffee and talked shit. You know, they just like, they all have each other's back, and it's amazing. And I'm just like, man, when I'm 75, like, I want a group of women that I meet every single Tuesday at 10 a.m. and talk about my struggles and my fears and my resentments and what I'm grateful for. And God damn, that is so amazing and inspiring. But anyway, so I go, and it's like a step study book. So basically you read like a couple pages from the steps. So get this, dude. Now, I said I want to talk about God shots, and I haven't yet talked about God shots, but don't think I forgot about God shots, because we're just about to talk about the God shot. So this is directly after this blow up fight that, like I said, it's very rare that I yell and lose my temper and so heated, you know, when you're so mad and like you're shaking and your heart is racing and you're furious and you're resentful and how could they and why don't they and blah. Okay, what is it? We're in resistance with what is, right? We're not accepting the reality of what is. And in this case, it's my family member's reaction to my script. So I'm heated, right? I walk into the room. The leader says, we're on page 90. Okay. I'm just going to go ahead and flip to page 90 for you right now. So you can take in what I took in. So this is literally minutes after my blowout fight with my family member. They say page 90, third paragraph down. Let's go. Ready? This is it. Few people have been more victimized by resentments than have we alcoholics. It mattered little whether our resentments were justified or not. A burst of temper could spoil a day, and a well-nursed grudge could make us miserably ineffective. Nor were we ever skillful in separating justified from unjustified anger. As we saw it, our wrath was always justified. Anger, that occasional luxury of more balanced people, could keep us on an emotional jag indefinitely. These emotional dry benders often led straight to the bottom. Other kinds of disturbances, jealousy, envy, self-pity, or hurt pride, did the same thing. I'm just going to keep going, okay? Just a couple more paragraphs because this is mind-blowing to me, okay? Like, come on. This is the page of all the pages. A spot check inventory taken in the midst of such disturbances can be a very great help in quieting stormy emotions. Oh, okay, maybe I need to do a little spot check inventory. Today's spot check finds its chief application to situations which arrive in each day's march. The consideration of long-standing difficulties had better be postponed, when possible, to times deliberately set aside for that purpose. The quick inventory is aimed at our daily ups and downs, especially those people or new events especially those where people or new events throw us off balance and tempt us to make mistakes. This is the last paragraph I'll read. In all these situations, we need self-restraint, honest analysis of what is involved, a willingness to admit when the fault is our own, and an equal willingness to forgive when the fault is elsewhere. We need not be discouraged when we fall into the error of our old ways, for these disciplines are not easy. We shall look for progress, not perfection. Our first objective will be the development of self-restraint. This carries a top priority rating. When we speak or act hastily or rashly, the ability to be fair-minded and tolerant evaporates on the spot. One unkind tirade or one willful snap judgment can ruin our relation with another person for a whole day or maybe a whole year. Nothing pays off like restraint of tongue and pen. We must avoid quick-tempered criticism and furious power-driven argument. The same goes for sulking or silent scorn. These are emotional booby traps baited with pride and vengefulness. Our first job is to sidestep the traps. When we are tempted by the bait, we should train ourselves to step back and think. For we can neither think nor act to good purpose until the habit of self-restraint has become automatic. Wow. And I could go on. The last paragraph was even more relevant to our situation, but I just don't want to read to you the entire podcast. So this to me was such a God shot. Like, of all the pages in that book, this one pertained to my situation in such a powerful way. And immediately I went, okay, I need to step back. I need to do a little inventory, which is, asking myself, where was I selfish, self-seeking, dishonest, or afraid? Do I owe an amends? What is my part in the situation? My part is playing God, trying to run the show. This is my script, and this is the way I want it, and this is the way I want you to react. And if you don't react the way I want, then I'm going to throw a tantrum and get angry with you because I can't run the show. Rather than, pause, hear her out, hear them out, act with love and tolerance, get into acceptance of the fact that they're not okay with this thing that I thought was brilliant. Well, and that's okay. So I need to practice acceptance, and I need to make amends because I was unkind and unloving. This is one of the things I love about having a design for living where the key principle is love and tolerance. Because you check yourself every day. Was I unkind? Was I unloving? Was I resentful? Do I need to make an amends? Keeping our side of the street clean is arguably the most important thing if we want to stay happy and peaceful. So anyway, I thought I'd share that with you. And now I just get to write something else and explore another dynamic and respect their decision rather than fight it because it's not what I want. I hope that helped. Oh, and then I, call my sponsor on the way back, and she has me do some writing on it, and then we just move forward. And I can get, lift that resentment, ask my higher power to lift that resentment and make amends. And then everyone feels better. Everyone feels better. I'm going to tell you one more God shot before I end this episode. So just because I think it's fun. It's a fun story. So I was newly sober, very newly sober. And I was living in West Hollywood at the time, which is like a very gay area. And I went to this gay meeting in West Hollywood. And I'm sitting there and I'm a newcomer and I'm really nervous. And they're like, any newcomers, like raise your hand and state your name. And I'm like, Laura, alcoholic. I've got 17 days. And they're like, yeah, Laura, yeah. So then after the meeting, this guy, I kid you not, his name is Hollywood, comes up to me and he's like, hi, I'm Hollywood. Do you want to go out for Thai food? And I can talk to you about the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. And I was like, okay, sure. He's like, let's go. He's like, can you drive? I don't have a car. I'm like, oh, sure. Okay. So we drive to this Thai place and we're sitting there and we order some pad Thai and he pulls out the big book and, which is where like the 12 steps are and all that. And, he starts reading it like really fucking loud. Okay. It's like a little hole in the wall restaurant. And I'm like 17 days sober. And he starts reading this shit loud and proud. Okay. He's like, and acceptance is the answer to all our problems today. Alcohol was our number one offender and blah, blah, blah. Like going off like loud as shit, man. And I am so embarrassed. Like I'm so embarrassed because I'm new. Even if I wasn't new, it's still kind of embarrassing. Like now everyone in the restaurant knows we're two like recovering alcoholics and he's preaching out this book like super loud in the restaurant. And then I turn to my right and I see this woman and she's got a glass of wine and she's like staring, like totally judging. And he just continues reading on. And I'm like, and she's, kept kind of staring, like how can you not, right? I'm sipping her wine. Anyway, cut to like 2 days later, I go in this underground garage basement for a meeting because like meetings are in very weird places. So it's like a literal underground room in this car garage. So I'm in this tiny ass room and I'm sitting there and I'm listening to the speaker. And all of a sudden I turn to my left and who do I see but the woman who was holding the glass of wine at that Thai restaurant. And we lock eyes and I just could not believe that she was there. And then after the meeting, she comes up to me. She goes, I just want to say thank you. My doctor had been telling me for years that I had a drinking problem and I would ignore him and I would ignore him and I would ignore him. And he would tell me to go to recovery meetings and I would ignore him. And then when your friend, was reading out that book, I took that as my sign. That was my sign that I needed to get sober. And there she was, sitting in that fucking underground parking garage room, like, sober. Come on, bro. If that's not a God shot, of all the restaurants we could have gone, and he just happened to read really loudly. By the way, he made me pay for the meal and drive him home. I think I was scammed, but it was worth it. That's a God shot. Anyway, I'll end with that. Isn't that cool? Doesn't that give you the tinglies? That story will forever give me the tinglies. I love you very much. If you related to this episode or enjoyed it, or just want to share your experience, strength, and hope, please leave a comment on my YouTube. Follow the podcast on Apple, Spotify, wherever you're listening, and make sure to subscribe to my YouTube for weekly videos. I love you very much. And as always, in the comments, write down 5 things you're grateful for, because it's really hard to be pissed off and grateful at the same time. I love you so much. Until next week.